ARMADA Book 6 Chapter 1 The Daughter Part 1. A few days after Andrew came from his first DG foray, Mampat appeared at their backyard while Andrew was playing with Adam. Mampat looked at Andrew. It's time. Andrew nodded and brought Adam inside to Vicky. He was out a few minutes later. How was your visit to Earth? Andrew asked. It was a lot of fun. We bought 10 casinos all over your planet. Your share as well as all the others were diluted by Rodin's share. Don't tell me. He told you it's the symbolism that counts. Yes, and he told me that he has always done this with all the species leaders. I guess that could be true because the amount of money involved is negligible as far as he's concerned. They traveled for almost a day through the hops towards the Talonot galaxies where a DG ship was parked near the capital planet. They found themselves at the bridge of Manpat's ship. Keelmill, Poolm, and Max Rogan were waiting. Larry beamed in. Andrew was surprised to see the two brothers because he knew Cassenpat was supposed to be with Billy. Poolm started, Okay, Andrew, when we got back, Sarudam's DG teams have gone into the Talonot dimension where the Armada has not formed yet because the Earth was medieval. Our approach this time is to create the Armada by starting with the Talonots, then moving backwards towards the Norsets, then to the Inkeys, and so on. Eric sent out 1.5 million Crimson invisible MacTaggers to the Talonot, Datuan, and Tosban galaxies. It took them over 2 months to tag all the Datuans and Tosbans. They finished a week ago and have moved on to the next dimension. Keelmill added, How about the sugar boxes, Mampat? Andrew asked. We have created 2 million boxes, and these are ready to deploy in packs of 100 through the DG. The strategy developed by Poolm and Rogan is to use the Tosban ships as operation centers. We have monitored 10,000 ships headed towards the Mac galaxies looking for the lost moon. We have not found the moon yet, but once we get the Tosban ships, we would be able to home and using the beacon they are homing on. Poolm added, We have 1,000 human, 3,000 Talonot, 1,000 Inkey, 2,000 Maccabee, 1,000 Marinti, and 1,000 Norset ship commanders with about 2,000 officers and crew under each of them. More than half of the personnel are drone operators and technicians. A quarter is assault troops, and the rest are refugee support and technicians. Most of the crew and their equipment are all waiting to be deployed from one of the Talonot planets. Once we remove all the Tosbans from their ships, we take over and beam our people in. The hackers have also deployed a virus in all the Tosban and Datuan ships that will remove all programming from the Tosban data systems, take over the ship and install our command protocols and wait for our intervention. And yes, all our people are familiar with these ships and the language. Larry said, So are you emotional already, Mampat? Andrew asked, smiling. No, not yet. The prep is mind-boggling even to an operations guy like me. Shall we, father? Akenpat asked, and Mampat nodded. They were all beamed to the Kligo ship. Akenpat sat at the captain's chair. Where did Cassenpat go? Asked Andrew. He is at the other Kligo ship, sir. We each have 5,000 assault troops needed to address the Tosban stragglers. So we are really packed to the roof? Akenpat answered. They all took their seats and waited. A DG window was opened and Romita beamed the whole ship 70 mly away towards the direction of the Tosban Armada. The Tosban Armada is 60 mly away and moving towards the Mac galaxies where they presumed the lost moon was. They can't see us, right? Andrew asked. No, sir. We were beamed by Romita Crimson Invisible, and we have 2 young Crimsons with us with some 100 Trunnies. Akenpat, I have identified a planet near the middle of the Tosban Armada, along their main direction with a very large cave system. We can start beaming our people there to set up the TP system. Romita said. Yes, deploy now. He looked at the old-timers behind him and, You may want to get something to eat. It will take 2 hours for our people to set up the cave system. Sure, come on guys. Andrew said as Romita escorted them 3 Kligo ships back. Nobody was there, which was strange to Andrew. More than an hour later, Akenpat walked into the small mess hall. The 2 Kligo ships have separated into 10 ships for the beaming and assault operations. They have taken positions nearer their targets. The cave now have 100 medium-sized TPs being set up. That's not enough. Andrew commented. Sir, a DG is now open and the Macs are transporting more than 2,000 medium-sized TPs into the cave and thousands of drones to the planet orbit, all manned by thousands of Norsets. Do you want to go down to the cave? Akenpat explained, and Mampat nodded. They found themselves in a huge cave wrapped in a time-warp field. They could see the floor seemed to be floating in the middle of the cave, and several medium-sized TPs arranged in several rows. Each TP had its own rows of fired-on power supply. An AI appeared in the image of Romita, and this way please. She guided the group around the area. Past the tower TP racks, they realized the floor is one of several floating levels on a very large floor below. A floor above them had MacTaggers appearing and disappearing. 2 floors had thousands of Norsets in front of the drone consoles. 1 floor had several thousand assault troops standing in formation, ready to deploy within the hour. Romita beamed them in front of the troops. The troops stood sharply in attention upon a signal from Romita. The troops were mostly humans with some Inkeys, comprising about a third of the group. Rodin recognized one of the commanders from the Armada Training Academy. Captain Tanner, good to see you again, Rogan said. Tanner saluted. Yes, good to see you too, sir. Is this your first DG assignment? Rogan asked. No, sir. This is our 10th dimension. We were deployed in the Norset and Bluffing arenas earlier. We have some Academy people up in the ships waiting to deploy. Rogan noticed Andrew going around the men and being mobbed with handshakes. Andrew is campaigning to be a senator, Rogan told Tanner. He's very popular and is actually a legend among the men. If there is one human famous in all the galaxies, that would be him. Of course his team as well, and you too, sir. Famous for pestering Andrew and pulling practical jokes on him? Tanner laughed. Yes, that too. But all off-world people know you because almost all got their training through you. I retrained in Planet Portland and it was really a blast. Is that Captain Vix shaking Andrew's hand? Seems like you guys get all the good assignments. Yes, that's the nutcase all right. Rogan laughed. Let me talk to the two nutcases then. Rogan tapped Tanner's shoulders and walked over to Vix. Tanner laughed. There was a loud alarm and the men grouped themselves in groups of 5. Andrew and the group were beamed to the Kligo ship. The last tagger will return in 5 minutes. All the Tasman ship's personnel have been tagged. The operations will begin in 10 minutes. We cannot delay further because the Tasmans might move out of beaming range before we finish with them. Akenpat explained. 24 holographs appeared. The holding planet is ready, Romita said. Akenpat nodded at Romita. Beam the cloaking devices to the target ships. Tell the Norsets to beam the attack drones near their targets among the inner ships. After a few minutes, we can dehibernate the virus now, Akenpat said. The Tasman ships suddenly stopped. Then the cloaking devices were turned on and the ships were all cloaked. Beaming the Tasmans out of the ships, now starting with those in the bridge of all the ships, Romita said. The Tasmans were methodically transported out of their ships, starting from those in the flanks, then going inward. The assault troops started to beam in and kill the remaining Tasmans. Then they moved to the next ship, then to the next. It will take 6 hours to empty all the Tasman ships, Akenpat said. Some of the ships in the middle of the Armada were able to launch their attack ships, but the drones just flew into the hangars and engaged them inside the ships. The virus prevented any of the ships from firing their large laser weapons at anything. Romita made sure also by removing the bridge firing crew first before beaming out anybody else. All bridges of all the ships will be empty within the hour. The Max and the designated commanders have started to move into the bridge of the ships and have started to deploy our data systems. Once the data systems are operational, they will turn Crimson invisible and would now be secure. Some of our teams are deploying in the bridge of the Tasman ships even if they are not yet empty. They put several time warp fields around them, Kielmil said. Andrew could see several hundred ships turn bluish. Those ships are now Crimson invisible? Romita faced Andrew. Yes, 2,101 ships are now Crimson invisible, mostly at the flanks. The operations will finish in 4 hours 10 minutes at the rate we are going. There are slaves in the ships, and they are now being beamed to the captured ships where our medics have set up shop. Disperse the beaming across all the ships. Beam their commanders out first, then you can go down the line. This will ease the pressure on our people in the Tasman bridges. All the remaining ships must be emptied at the same time, Andrew said. Romita, tell the ships to follow Andrew's new directive. Beam the Tasmans from all the ships at the same time, starting with the bridges. Start beaming the sugar boxes to the captured ships. Yes, Akenpat. The ships are changing the directive. The Max will begin transporting them now. The top Tasman commander is now in a time box. The Trunnies will start reading his mind shortly, Romita said. After 2 hours, 4,318 Tasman ships are now Crimson invisible and the rest are almost 65% empty. Our people are now moving into the ships, Romita reported. The mind reading showed that the Tasmans are indeed headed for the Lost Moon. We have the moon's exact position, Kielmil said. Kassenpat appeared before the group. Father, I will leave you now. I will take my Kligo ships and 2,000 Tasman ships to the moon's location. Good, be careful, son. Do you have all the sugar boxes and equipment you need? Yes, we have all the equipment we prepared to carry. He beamed out. Andrew could see Kassenpat assemble his Kligo ship and started moving towards the moon's direction. 2,000 ships started to move alongside Kassenpat's ship. Why don't we go over to the Tasman ships? They have organized in groups of 500 ships per group. Let's move over to one of the command ships and see what's up, Mampat suggested. Poom and Kielmil nodded. Larry, where are you? We're going to the Tasman lead ship, Andrew said. Larry appeared and let's go. The bridge was huge with several large chairs in the middle and 2 rows of large chairs at the side. There were more than a dozen screens hanging all around the bridge. Tanner, you're the group commander? Rogan asked surprised. Welcome to the bridge, sir. This chair is hard and huge. He deployed his outer uniform to form a chair on top of the Tasman chair. I need a pillow. They all laughed. Everything here is huge, Andrew said. A woman in white appears. This is Amy, my ship AI. She will take care of all your needs, sir, he said as he turned to Andrew. After a few minutes, Amy reported, Ak and Pat will stay to close the operations. All our crew complement of 600 per ship is complete for all the ships in our group. All the ships in this group will be deployed as hop ships from the Talonot capital all the way to the Tasman galaxies. We can proceed to the Talonot galaxies now. Sir, would you be staying here in the ship or at the Kligo ship? It will take us longer to get to the Talonot capital planet. All the ships will be construction in progress, so you can expect dirt and noise. I would suggest you move to the Kligo ship. It's faster and the beds are softer as they were made for humans. Tanner said. They laughed and Andrew told Amy to beam them back. After 2 hours, all the Tasman ships were in Armada control. They have moved the Tasman commanders to the holding planet. We will now head for the Talonot capital planet. Half of the ships will follow, but will reach their positions near the Tasmans in 20 days. The other half will position themselves near the Dachuan galaxies after 16 days. 3,000 Tasman ships will form a line from the Talonots all the way to the Max, then Inky, then towards the middle galaxies, through the Crinsons, then through Earth, then to the Norsets, then to the Bowfangs. Romita said. Good planning, Poom, Rogan. Mampat commented. It will take the hops 6 months until the hops will be operational. In the meantime, they are all independent ships and must survive and finish their tasks. Rogan said. Good planning. Andrew said. After 6 days, Romita appeared and we are within beaming range of the capital planet. Drones show that the Mampad in this dimension is in the palace with Sarudam and several commanders. The Talonots have lost 22 planets and the fighting is intense. The Max have established a cave base right in the middle of the 22 occupied planets. Our troops would DG from there and into the Dachuan ships. Keelmill said. So Mampat, the plan is to go down looking like Marantais and use the Ancestors line? Andrew asked. That's the prophesy. You guys mustn't call me Mampat. Maybe Manny would be good for now. How about you, son? Yes, father. Call me AC. Like the Inky movie star. So you're an Inky movie addict also? Poom asked. Yes, and I realize the Talonot movie industry needs to upgrade to better quality shows and movies. Akampat said. Larry beamed in. Good. I don't have to call you again. Andrew said. Larry, Mampat's new name is Manny while Akampat is AC. Andrew told Larry. He is so sure Larry will bungle it. Understood. Larry nodded. Romita beamed their chameleon bands and translators. The group quickly put them on. Are you all ready? Romita asked. Mampat answered. Let's go. Andrew, you do the talking. Greetings, my name is Andrew. This is Rogan, Keelmill, Poom, Larry, Mampat, and Akampat. Mampat nudged Andrew. I mean, this is Manny and that is AC. Andrew corrected himself. You always do this, Andrew. Mampat said, irritated. I told you he'll bungle it. Rogan said. Akampat and Poom laughed. A Talonot walked from behind a group. My name is Sarudam, first right to King Mampat. Why are you here? Sarudam, first of all, we are your descendants and you are our ancestors. We call ourselves Marantais and our galaxies are 1.2 BLY away. We traveled for months because we encountered a group of Talonots who we thought were Marantais. They told us of your predicament, so we came to help. Andrew thought he said it mechanically without proper emphasis on the key points. He also did not pause to create drama. Mampat looked at him as if complaining on the monotone. Okay, let me introduce you to King Mampat. Did I hear you call his name? Yes, I thought one of you was Mampat. Rogan looked at Andrew. They walked to the king's chamber, and it was full of Talonots working on the war. Sarudam announced, King Mampat, these are aliens who just appeared outside and wanted to help in our war. Local Mampat faced the group. Greetings, aliens. We appreciate any help we can have. Andrew whispered, Keelmill, tell Romita to isolate the spies and prevent them from telling the Dachuans about us. She said she's on it. Rogan did the introduction this time since Andrew would bungle it again. Simultaman came running into the king's chamber. This is incredible. The prophesy has come true. Wait, you all look the same but you're not. Anyway, Mampat, Sarudam, be kind and accommodate these people. They will save our people from the monsters. Give them whatever they want. Local Mampat felt his chest and, I feel strange. I suddenly have this excited feeling. Simultaman looked at him and, I know why, but it's not important. What is important is that the prophesy has come true and our people are now saved. Well, not yet. It will take a lot of hard work in several days. Andrew interrupted. How many ships do you have? Sarudam asked. We have one. Andrew answered. Local Mampat and Sarudam laughed, but not Simultaman. Local Mampat patted Simultaman and, okay, Simultaman, I know you are behind this practical joke. You conditioned our minds to think the prophesy will come true several days ago, and now this. My dear king, this is not a joke. Please understand that these people do not operate like we do. They have their ways that are beyond our technology and understanding. They came here to bring all our people back, including your 2 sons, and rid our planets of the monsters. Do not insult them. He raised his voice at Mampat. Romita walked into the room wearing the same uniform as Sarudam. Local Manpat gestured to her. Pardon my manners, aliens. Simultaman sees a lot of things. Sometimes it could get confusing. I am sorry, Simultaman, for this misunderstanding, but we came here to bring your enslaved people and those taken over by the creatures back to you, to rid your planets of the occupiers, and go to the Dachuan galaxies to teach the Dachuans how to conduct themselves properly. Andrew said, So you intend to bring the war to the Dachuans? How many years would it take you to do this? Local Manpat asked. Andrew looked at Akenpat. 21 days. Akenpat said. Sarudam and Local Manpat laughed again. The group became quiet when Romita walked in front of Local Manpat. Romita approached Akenpat and touched both shoulders with 2 hands and squeezed them a little and then embraced Akenpat. Then she approached Manpat and held his 2 hands, then embraced him also, tight. I feel you both, she said. Andrew could see Manpat turn into a statue, stiff, unmoving, and just looking at Romita. Romita walked to her father. Father, do not laugh at them, she said softly as she held Local Manpat's arm. Local Manpat turned to the group. Okay, how do you intend to help us? Andrew looked at Akenpat. The problem is really bigger than you can imagine. The Dachuans are not your real problem. In 21 days, the Dachuans will fall. There is a species called the Tasbans, and the Dachuans are their minions. The Dachuans intended to bring Talonot slaves all the way to the Tasbans as an act of servitude. Akenpat said as he produced a hologram of the Dachuans and the Tasbans. Local Manpat and his group were amazed. As you can see, the Dachuans are like a smaller version of the Tasbans. These Tasbans are absolute evil, enslaving millions from different species, and the Dachuan emperor serves them. After the Dachuans, we would have to go to the Tasbans and take care of them, otherwise they would take over the Dachuans and bring the war back to your front door. We intend to remove the Tasban emperor and substitute him and his leaders with Talonots appearing as Tasbans. We will get all their 30,000 or so ships and destroy their weapons and shipbuilding factories in another 10 days. This time Sarudam and Local Manpat did not laugh. What do we have to do to deserve this? What do you want from us? Romita asked. Her voice was serious and almost pleading for an answer. Your species is one of the greatest species in the galaxies. You must endure and prosper for the sake of all the species around you. What we request from you is really just one thing. That you treat us, your enemies, and all the other species in the universe as your equal. Andrew answered. You must be joking, right? Sarudam asked. I told you, do not joke around. They asked for one thing, and you think it's a joke? Simultaman shouted at Sarudam. I am sorry. Forgive me. It's just that you picture to end the Dachuan problem in 21 days, and you show us a bigger issue called the Tasbans, who I presume are much more powerful than the Dachuans, and you intend to end their capability to engage in war in another 10 days, and you only ask that we treat you and other species equally. Yes. It's okay, Simultaman. We get this all the time. Like, where do you get this? Romita asked. We get insulted and laughed at across 40 BLY of intergalactic space in several dimensions. Andrew said. What are you, gods? Local Manpat asked. Simultaman was exasperated. They are not gods. They are just like you and me. We have been laughed at and insulted and treated like this across 40 BLY of intergalactic space in several dimensions. But we still persist and try to help and do our job well, and all for this one request. He repeated his statement to bring in a point. Romita looked at Andrew. Why? Why this one request? What makes your species great is that you already know this concept. It is part of the fabric of your civilization. Manpat as king treats his subjects as equal to himself. Sarudam as leader of the armies treats all his forces as equal to him. But to treat your enemies and oppressors as your equal, to help them instead of exterminating them, that would be the height of your achievement as a species. Beyond this, you will exist as one of the greatest species in the galaxies. Andrew explained. Local Manpat stared keenly at Andrew. So you expect me to forgive and even help my enemies? That is part of the request. But you will do more, much more. What if we do not agree? Sarudam asked. Simultaman shouted at him again. Are you stupid? These people will bring your whole family back to you. They will bring your 2 sons back to you, Manpat. They will bring home more than 300 million of our people. They will free them from the creatures and become normal again. You can do all of these things, as Simultaman said? And by the way, he said a lot. Local Manpat asked. Yes, and much more than what he has already told you. We will help your species thrive and prosper. To have the greatest armada in the galaxies. To become one of the greatest civilizations in the galaxies and beyond. Andrew said. All this for the one request? We do not have to pay you with anything? Local Manpat tried to confirm something. Your group are really strange. Romita said. We have always been strange. Akenpat answered. You cannot pay us with anything else but agree to our one request. Andrew added. Rogan entered the conversation. There is also one other thing that we want to clarify with this equality concept. It's really a natural consequence of our activities in the next few days, but I just want to make it clear. And this is that you form an armada, as Andrew mentioned, With our help, of course, and crude buy-in with other species to help other species in the galaxies and request that they treat others equally. The Datuans and Tosbins would be your first equality projects. There would be more. And you would align with groups that will foster this equality. We will have other species join the fight? Romita asked Andrew. Yes. Their struggle will be your own, and your struggles will be theirs as well. This equality concept does appear hard to imagine, but once you do, it's really very easy, especially for your species. Frankly, I do not believe that you can do as you say you would and as Simultaman said you would. But if you can do as you say you would and all for this one request, as king, I agree. Manpat, we expect you will honor your word and expect all your people to abide by your decision. Andrew said, actually, we believe you. Andrew just wants to be dramatic. Keelmill said, and they all laughed. What would you want us to do now? Sarudam tried to clarify. Prepare. Prepare for a deluge of refugees. We want all your ships pulled back and refitted to become medical ships. You will have no use for them after this war. We will provide equipment that will enable you to free the creatures attached to your people. Then we will train and equip your ground troops to become Armada assault troops. We will also train spies and infiltrators. Akampat said, you will do this with one ship? Romita asked. We do not need ships to operate. Our people will be beaming over in a few hours. You look like a real fighter, Romita, Akampat said. He shifted the conversation when he saw Manpat started to become very uneasy. Romita walked over to Akampat. Yes, I have fought on the ground and in space. She held Akampat's hand. I feel so close to you. Why? Akampat just smiled and squeezed Romita's hand. Manpat moved nearer to Akampat, unsure and with some slight leg tremors. You look very pretty in your uniform, Romita, he stammered. Sarudam explained, Manny, AC. She is an accomplished commander in space and on the ground. She has fought the Datuans bravely and won in countless encounters. She has earned the loyalty of all our commanders in the battlefield. Manpat looked at her and, I could imagine. You must be very brave to go into battle where you could get killed. I am always afraid, but I have to do this for my people. My 2 brothers were ambushed and are now Datuan slaves with creatures attached to them. Don't worry, you will be reunited with your 2 brothers shortly. Manpat assured her. Romita held his hand. I always pray for this day, when Talonauts from the stars would come and save our people. I have never lost hope that you would come, and here you are. The war has not been going well for us. The Datuans are methodically taking over one planet at a time, and I cannot imagine how you will do the things you said you will do, Sarudam said. Don't worry and don't even think about it. This is what we do. Manpat told Sarudam. So Andrew, you are the leader of this group? Local Manpat asked. Sort of. They gave me the lead to talk, but AC is the one with the details and has taken lead of the operations. Local Manpat continued. So how many Datuans will you kill to get the peace? Hopefully none. Akampat answered. So you would just talk to them? Local Manpat asked. As I said, AC has the details. But in this case, I don't think talking to them is part of the agenda. We will just take all their ships away from them, remove all their shipbuilding and weapons building capabilities, and change their leaders. Andrew said. Local Manpat sounded shocked. All within 31 days? It could take longer, maybe a few days longer. Andrew said. We have been at war for more than 180 years. I cannot imagine you can do as you say you would do. Local Manpat said. Stop thinking about how we would do it. We do this all the time, and our people are very good at it. Just prepare for a lot of refugee work. Talonauts could die within hours because you got delayed in delivering the needed assistance to them. Your people are in pain. We should strive to shorten the time they feel this pain. Andrew said, a bit irritated. Akampat looked at the group. Guys, we need to get back to the ship. They said their goodbyes and beamed back to the bridge. Romita appeared. There are 2 spy groups other than the brothers' groups. We got the 2 other groups, but one of the groups got the message through. Keelmill, who's in charge in the caves? Andrew asked, then looked at Romita. A Talanaut appeared. Sir, my name is Skamanak. I am the leader of the group in the cave. Andrew looked at him. I remember you. You came from the Metal Moon? Yes, sir. I did. Are all the ships bombed? Yes, sir. We have several bombs in each of their ships. We are transferring the data now to your ship. We can blow them all up on your order, Andrew. Romita said. Let them move nearer so we can get their ships nearer to our planets. Manpat said. I agree. But we have to tell Manpat below to stand down and wait for the ships to come nearer. Andrew said. Manpat will know in 2 days from the time the ships leave for the Talanaut planets. I believe the Datuan Emperor will get the information in 2, and the ships will leave in another 2 days. So 4 days, then Manpat will know 2 days later. Manpat looked at him. How did you know that, Commander? My king, we have cloaked spies on their known spies. So we will just blow them up in 7 days then? Akampat asked. Yes, my second king, that would be ideal. But it could extend to 8 or 10 days if the Emperor's forces are not as quick to deploy. I agree. Andrew said. He looked at Manpat. Do it then. Skamanak, you take lead on this. Blow them up when you see fit, then beam them to the ground. And don't forget to blow a hole on the ship so the crew wouldn't die inside their ships. Tell Mampat to stand down while you do it. Appear as a Marinti, so he would know you come with us. Remind him about the refugee work. Yes, my king. Actually, our cave AI deployed with several bodies and tagged all of the crew in the ships so we can beam them into the sugar boxes. Very good, Skamanak. Mampat said, and Skamanak beamed out. You did not talk much downside, Mampat? Andrew asked. He was watching Romita all the time. Akinpat answered. I was crying inside all the time, from the moment she walked in until we left. I told you, Sir Andrew, he will cry all the time. They all laugh. I love her so much. I am so happy to see her again. And Romita felt the two of you. Isn't that so amazing? Andrew asked. I actually felt the other Mampat and I want to punch his face. He was laughing at us and pretended not to. Andrew looked at him. Okay, I am sorry, Andrew. I laughed at you when you first appeared before me. Now I know how you feel. We've been laughed at before, but this time I felt being laughed at and myself laughing at myself at the same time. Was it confusing, father? Mampat laughed. No, I felt angry at my other self. You could punch yourself? Poom said. They all laughed. I think we should go to the Dachuan capital planet and stage a beam out of the royalty, the slaves, the emperor, and his commanders. Andrew said. You feel there would be reprisal killings? Keelmill asked. Better to be sure than sorry. Andrew said. I agree. Romita, call Skamanak over, please. Mampat said. Skamanak appeared. Yes, you called my king? We would have to go to the Dachuan capital planet and free up some people and get the emperor and his commanders. When the emperor finds out you destroyed the armada that he sent, he might take it on the royalty and slaves. I agree, my king. We have a cave base in the planet next to the capital. The commander there is a human named Maria. She has bombed all the Dachuan ships and the military installations. I think she has a few hundred TPs. If you start beam out, you need at least 2,000 TPs. Maria could open a DG and get the additional TPs. But 5 days is cutting it tight. Okay, tell Maria to start getting TPs into the cave system. Tell her to look for an ideal holding planet already. Andrew said. Yes, sir. I will do that now. He beamed out. Romita, let's get to the Dachuan capital planet. Akinpat said. The next day, we are already within beaming range of the Dachuan capital. I will call the commander to report. Romita declared. 2 women appeared before Akinpat and the group. A tall brunette in GX uniform. Welcome to the Dachuan capital. I'm Colonel Maria Torres, and this is Captain Blair Bunt. General Mann, General Rogan, King Mampat, Akinpat, Fleet Commander Poom, Captain Keelmill. We were informed by Skamanak of the problem, and we have responded quickly. Blair added, Sir, to date all the slaves have been tagged. The Emperor and his commanders 4 levels down have been tagged. All the Emperor's family and royalty have been tagged. We have bombed all their ships. We also have bombs on all military installations and weapons factories. We also have deployed the Norset test virus on the Dachuan ships. That's saying a lot. How long have you been here, Colonel? Andrew asked. Maria answered, Sir, 12 weeks with more than 1 million taggers, bombers, and hackers. We were able to finish last week, and almost all have returned back to our dimension. Now we are monitoring for those we have not tagged. Akinpat briefed the 2 officers on the spies and Skamanak's intended actions. I agree. It could get ugly. We have identified a holding planet 80 MLY away, towards the Gribs galaxies. We could not use any of the planet towards the Talonauts because the Dachuans regularly ply these routes. The only issue is that we need to prep the place for refugees. We are talking about more than 200 million slaves. Half of these need the sugar box. Maria said. We could ask the Armada from the other side to secure the area. Mampat suggested. Can we open a DG from them and get our people in? Andrew asked. I remember you, Maria, but you used the name Christina at the academy. You graduated with Hyru from the academy on Earth. Yes, I did, sir. Blair also came from the academy. They said you knew all your graduates. I could not imagine that you could know each of us. I know you have a Navy prick for a boyfriend. And Blair, you're an avid surfer and your brother was an NFL star. I read each of your files not once but 8 times at least every year that you were in the academy. But with all the Armada academies all over the place, I could not do that as well as I did before. Maria and Blair smiled. That shows he cares for each and every officer on training. Andrew said, We are honored to have passed our training under you, sir. Anyway, we can open a DG and I believe the other side is preparing for refugee work when they realize the spy issue and time may not be on our side. We have started getting the TPs into the cave when Skamanak told us so. The next DG opening will be in 2 hours. Blair added, The only issue is that the absence of facilities will reduce the number of sugar boxes that we can deploy and this will result in a longer processing time for all the connected slave, maybe up to 6 months. We also have to secure the area from attacks from space. And this is a barren planet with no facilities. Facilities could be an issue. Why don't we empty a Dachuan planet? Maybe it could be easier to secure. Mampat suggested. If you have disabled all their ships, the only threat would be from small attack ships that we can throw our drones at. Andrew said. Maria thought for a while. We have considered this option, and we have been considering this planet at the fringes. It has only 4 major cities with more than 20 million inhabitants. We have bombed the 3 military installations on the planet. We can tag all of the inhabitants in 6 days, 7 to be safe. Did you mean this planet, Maria? Romita asked. Yes, that's the one. We would need the place in 5. Akampat said. I think that will work. We just need to secure 2 of the 4 major cities as the tagging progresses. Andrew said. So it's a plan then. Mampat concluded. First we ID a cave system and beam our people into the cave. Maria said. The planet has several large cave systems. This is not the largest but has a very cool internal temperature. Romita said. Send our Max over and set the place up. Akampat said. My people are now preparing to deploy. Maria said. How do you intend to handle the Emperor and his commanders? Andrew asked. We will beam all of them into time boxes and hold them in this cave for mind reading and later for the local Mampat as a reminder. Maria answered. Very good. So we need to tell the local Mampat that we have to deploy earlier than the 21 days we originally planned. Akampat said. We can ask Skamanak to delay blowing the ships up for as long as he can. I think we can easily add a day so we can more or less have the Dachuan planet empty. Blair, can you call Skamanak in, please? Mampat said. That would be better for us. The setup of the TPs alone would need 4 days. The drones another 2 days. We really are looking at 7 days before we start beaming the royalty. Skamanak appears. Yes, my king? Maria explained the plans to Skamanak, and we just need 2 more days. She said. I can delay for a day easily. Maybe push for 2. But the Emperor will not react until he gets the message which will come to him through spies on the ground. And this would be a day at least. He'd probably have scout ships deployed far from the battlefield, and these would have to fly back and relay the message. Still, this method of transmission will need a day at least. So I agree we can hit 7 days if we push it. Skamanak explained. We can also deal with the spies and the scout ships. If we can get to these, the message will not get through. But then there would definitely be several channels. But we still have to do this. Rogan added. I agree. Anyway, Skamanak, you know what to do. Romita, we need to get all the spies and scout ships if possible. Yes, my king. I will notify you a day before I execute. Well done. Skamanak, you also need to tell the local Mampat to get ready a few hours before you execute. Andrew added. Skamanak saluted and disappeared. 6 days later, Skamanak appeared. My king, the Emperor's forces will reach the capital planet in 2 days. I have tried to hold the local Mampat for as long as I can. I would request that you talk to him. Tell him to delay another day. Andrew added. I agree. Maria is almost done. The drones have deployed, but not all. The boxes hit a snag, and we have less than we anticipated. 1 more day is crucial. Okay. Romita, where are our devices? Mampat asked. Behind you. The group put the devices on and turned into Marantais. Skamanak suggested, beam our images at the king's chamber in front of Mampat. Greetings, Mampat, Sarudam. Where's Romita? Andrew asked. Greetings, Andrew, Manny, Rogan, Skamanak, AC. Romita is now deployed with the defending ships. Local Mampat answered. I told you to pull your ships back. Skamanak told Romita telepathically to get Romita into the chamber. Mampat agreed. Romita appeared. Father, I was at my command ship. Now I am here. We would like you to pull all your ships back. Prepare for a deluge of refugees. Andrew said. You said you will end this war in 21 days. Local Mampat said. There were several spies in your royalty and men. One group managed to get the word out that there were aliens helping you out. This prompted the Emperor to launch an attack. These ships must be stopped tomorrow. But it is important that we avoid killing any of the Talonot crew. We intend to disable the ships and bring them to the ground. Andrew explained. I cannot imagine you care so much about the crew. They are already dead. I cannot imagine how you can do what you just said. Local Mampat said. Mampat is becoming really irritated. Look, these are your people. Do not waste their lives. We must remove them from the ships and remove the creatures attached to them. And stop imagining how we do things. We will just do it. The spies caused our plans to change from 21 days to 8 days. The whole affair will end tomorrow. We only need 1 more day. So pull your ships back and give us 1 more day. Sarudam countered. But the ships will be in firing range of one of our planets tomorrow. They would bomb the planet. Skamanak looked at him. No, they will not bomb. They expect you to engage them. You must not engage. Rogan sensed something and, okay, Mampat, give us 1 day, and you will have your 2 sons without the creatures tomorrow night. How's that? And Sarudam, you will have your whole family also by tomorrow night. I cannot imagine how you will do it. They are in the Dachuan capital serving the Emperor. Sarudam said. Will you please stop imagining anything? Understand this. If you do not pull back and give us one day, your two sons Mampat and your family Saruta might be executed because the Emperor will kill them because the Armada was engaged one day early and he found out about it earlier than he should have. If we engage tomorrow, none of this will matter because we will have the Emperor and all his commanders 4 levels down in custody by the end of the day. And we will free your family and Manpat's sons and royalty and all the slaves by the end of the day. Andrew said. Simultaman came running again and stopped in front of Andrew. Andrew, you can execute today and the outcome will be all right. I know you are all perfectionists in your work and are always planning on the safe side. It will be okay. Andrew looked at Simultaman and, are you sure? Sure, I'm sure. Start blowing up the ships tonight. We would be executing some 18 hours early. I guess we can do this tonight, Skamanak said as he looked at Mampat. Okay, we'll start tonight then. Mampat answered. You were arguing your heads off to get one more day, and here comes Simultaman, and he says it's okay, and you just agree. How do you know if Simultaman is not confused and had it all wrong? Local Mampat asked. Andrew answered, we just know. Anyway, this means that you have to mobilize all your refugee people to be able to leave tonight. Why don't you invite all of us to your operations center Skamanak, so the king and Sarudam can understand what they cannot imagine? Simultaman asked. Andrew laughed. You can always joke around Simultaman, we understand. Mampat and Skamanak laughed. But they know what's coming. Rogan started. I think that's a great idea. But come over later today or tomorrow. You will just get bored looking at our faces. He was trying to save the situation. Simultaman looked at him and, okay, fine. If you say so. I want to go now, Romita said. Simultaman looked at Andrew then at Mampat. Skamanak, can she come over here at Maria's? Mampat asked. AC and Rogan looked at each other. There are hop caves in place. But the traffic now is high. She could arrive in 2 hours, maybe even 3. Manny. Skamanak answered. Simultaman stepped up and, if she goes I will go too. Sarudam looked at local Mampat. I want to go, my king. It's okay, Sarudam, you can go. I cannot leave this place. Skamanak, escort our guests through the hops. Mampat said. Where are we going? Sarudam asked. Skamanak looked at him. To a planet next to the Dachuan capital planet. If you are all ready, we can go now. Simultaman held Romita's arm. Let's go. He seems to know where the power lie. How will we go there? Sarudam asked. Just don't imagine and you'll be fine. Andrew said. Mampat and the group laughed. Back at Maria's.